my name is Beckett. I'm a junior at Leesville Road High School, and this will be my third year in the ACE Mentor program. For our project this year, we were asked to design a tiny home / mobile live-work studio. Now here we have a view of the interior from this side. Now this is the door, that's the road, and so when you enter, you got a couch, a television, as well as a ladder up to the loft with the desk, as well as the bed over here. And then we have kitchen space over here, just a pretty basic kitchen, as well as a bathroom right here. I think one of the most important things when it comes to being an architect, for myself and for my future, I think it's the ability to work as a team and problem solve. Now, this year, this project was less teamwork oriented, just due to the circumstances, but I still think that without our small group sessions in which we bounced ideas off each other and I got to learn from my colleagues and all that, I really think this would not have been what it is. I think that, the ability to work with other people as well as solve the problems that arrive when that happens, I think is extremely invaluable.
Hello, my name is Evan Nazareth and I'm from Green Hope High School and I'm a junior this year and I've been part of ACE for 3 years. Over the course of ACE, I've really enjoyed this year doing a bunch of the activities in Google Classroom weekly. I thought that was pretty neat. For example, like the floor plan, which is pretty cool to learn how to design stuff, and then some of the measuring activities, as well as learning about the tools and other things over the course of this year. I've also really enjoyed attending large group and small groups because we've got to see more people in our large groups and get to work more directly with our mentors in our small groups, so I thought that was really cool. Over the course of ACE, I've learned that to succeed in the architecture, construction, and engineering fields, you need to have technical skills, but you can build those over time, and it's good that we're getting a head start and able to learn all those skills through ACE and be introduced to them at the very least, so we are aware of them. And then you also need soft skills and be able to work with other people, especially in teamwork and collaboration settings, because that's what a lot of it is. Even though in college you may be doing a lot of individual work, you will definitely be working as a team when you actually get into the industry, and that's one of the big takeaways that I've learned.
Hi, my name is Nithya Lamori and I'm a student with ACE RDU. My favorite part of the entire experience was seeing our tiny houses come together. We got to bounce ideas off of one another, get constant feedback from our mentors, solve problems on our own, and also just kind of think outside the box. When we couldn't get inspiration from Pinterest, we had to come up with solutions on our own. Seeing our ideas come to life was probably one of the coolest things. Lastly, I'd like to thank my mentors, my classmates, and ACE for a wonderful, wonderful experience and year.
Hi everyone, my name is Rishi Rao. I'm a 10th grader at Athens Drive High School, and this is my first year in the ACE program. Today I'd like to talk a little bit about what I learned as an ACE student and about my favorite parts of the project. Starting with my favorite activity, this was the floor plan design that I did near the beginning of the program. I really enjoyed doing this activity because I was given a lot of creative freedom to design the house, and I had to think reasonably as to where everything should be located. What I discovered is that because we have a space constraint, I would have to find a way to maximize the storage and create a lot of multi-purpose areas in the house. What I did was I added a lot of kitchen storage and even cabinets under the stairs for even more storage. I also added this bar counter that could basically fold down and allow for extra area in the living room for recreational activities or even room for guests. And what I found through all of this is that the three professions of being an architect, a contractor, or an engineer need to have some common skills. And so they need to be able to communicate efficiently, and they need to be able to think rationally. And communication is extremely vital in all of these jobs because you have to kind of collaborate with all of your peers. It's not just you doing the work. And I would describe it kind of like a symbiotic relationship where you depend on your peers and they depend on you. What happens is you need to think about cost, you need to think about safety, you need to think about efficiency. There are just many factors that go into building, designing, all of these things. This is what I learned as an ACE student.
For the project, the topic I chose was my finish board, solely because I think this is one of my favorite things just to look into for ACE. it was one of the things that you could really go down deep into the detail of it, and some things that you normally wouldn't consider about being in the house, you get to focus on that and just really customize, I guess, what the most nitpicky aspects of what a tiny home is about. To be an engineer specifically is being able to make sure that it's, usable, it looks good, and just open-minded with all the other aspects of construction, engineering, and architecture, something that I find really important.
Hi everyone, I'm Carlos Benegas, and today I'll be talking about my tiny home project for the ACE mentorship program. So, getting down to the project, I wanted to make it as independent as possible, so I decided to use a composting toilet design, as well as a rainwater harvesting and purification system. And for power, I would use transparent solar panel windows that are connected to a battery, and also within the system, a separate diesel powered generator for emergency power usage. And I put it all together in a software called Onshape, where I developed a 3D model, and I'll show you that now. When it comes to utilities such as heating, plumbing, and etc., that would all go in this underbelly section here. As you can see, there would be space beneath the living room floor and the bathroom floor, and there would be access panels along the perimeter for maintenance and reasons such as that. In a great project, there's still room for improvement. I feel myself that I succeeded in making the tiny home very sustainable, and in the end, I'm pretty proud of it, and I'm glad I got to share it with you all. And this year at ACE was definitely different, but it was still a great experience, and I learned a lot from it.
A specific lesson I enjoyed during ACE was the landscape architecture lesson. Learning about why buildings are placed where they are and how the outside space is important was very intriguing. This changed my thoughts on how valuable landscape architecture is to a project. As an architect, I need to be able to use my human-centered design thinking skills. People's human and emotional side are the reasons why buildings are built the way they are and why they have meaning. Without client inspiration and input, there is no vision for the building. Client input is required for every aspect of a project, from landscape design to structural design to interior design. Being able to use and acknowledge those skills is what is needed for a very successful future of an architect, which I plan to be.
Hey everyone, my name is Dia and I'm a sophomore from Durham High School. This was actually my very first time doing ACE. It was my very first time being in a architecture, construction, and engineering program in general, actually. So what I learned in ACE this year was that I never had actually thought about the architecture profession, or even, the actual engineering profession. In the real world, you have to think about how the client feels, how they feel about the building. And successful architects, contractors, and engineers have the ability to kind of put all of those things together and make this building that everybody loves. I think that ACE really showed me a new perspective on how I can think about, whenever I walk by a building, I can think about, how much effort it took to actually create that building and bring that building into this actual world.
Hi, I'm Gracie, and this is my project for ACE. So for my floor plan, I really focused on separating public and private spaces. So on the left, on the first floor, you have a couch, bar, and kitchen right near the doors to gather. And then towards the right on the first floor is a bedroom, and there's also a ladder leading up to the loft. So all of the private spaces are on the right, and you can really see the contrast. This is my framing plan activity. I was kind of nervous about doing this one because I didn't really know anything about framing, and it just seemed really hard, so I procrastinated it for a while, but I finally made myself do it, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it was, so I was proud of myself for getting it done. This is probably my other favorite activity because I liked being able to design the inside and make sure it had the atmosphere I was going for. It's a picture of the public space in one-point perspective with the kitchen on the left, the bar, a fun carpet, and a pink couch. I believe the most important skill for architects, engineers, and contractors to have is the ability to work with others. Collaboration allows for shared brainpower and better ideas, and this can lead to a more successful space.
Hi, my name is Michelle Escobar. I'm a senior at Cardinal Gibbons High School, and my favorite part of the project this year for ACE was definitely creating the plan. I love having the ideas and then making it fit into the constraints, It was especially interesting this year because it felt like every new meeting we had introduced new constraints. So I had to keep changing it, but I was very happy with the end result. Here's a board that I made with the plan and some elevations and the roof plan. I took inspiration from all sorts of different tiny houses. Most of them had a theme of creating the illusion of a bigger space or good storage ideas. I tried to keep it very light and airy in the inside, but the outside is more blending in with the trees around it. To be a good architect, you need to be able to both look at the big picture and pay attention to the small details. I think that being able to do that and look at a design holistically helps you make better spaces overall.
Hi, my name is Shravya, and one of my favorite ACE projects was creating a 3D view of my tiny house. I've only ever used Fusion 360 to create 3D models, so it's very exciting to introduce a new program to use. And using SketchUp has helped me to look at different parts of my tiny house that I wouldn't have been able to look at through my floor plan, and also helped me add or delete different elements of my floor plan to help benefit my tiny house as a whole. And I believe that great architects, contractors, and engineers all have great communication skills, because the ACE mentorship program emphasized that an essential skill to have is communication in any ACE field, because architects, contractors, and engineers all work together to help complete a project successfully.
The next project was our site plan / landscape design. And basically it shows how much space your tiny home would take up and how it would look on the landscape. This is my floor plan, and it's showing what I want inside of my home and how I want it to be laid out. I created a 3D digital view of my tiny home so I could see what it looked like from a one-point perspective. As an architect, I need to be able to communicate and cooperate with those I am working with. This will allow me to share different ideas and get to know who I'm working with. Architects also need to know how to estimate and budget, how to use certain programs like Revit, and they need to know how to problem solve.
Mix things up. Hexagons are the bestagons. That's why that's there. I also love outdoor spaces, specifically porches, right? Because porches are kind of like not really inside and not really outside. They're kind of, they make the line fuzzy, between being outside the house and being inside the house.
Something I learned a lot about in ACE this year was interior design. I liked hearing about the process of going from vision boards all the way to your final product, and just really thinking about the energy you want the space to have. And I also really liked learning about sustainability and thinking about the impacts that your building will have on the environment and how to minimize those impacts and continue to stay green after you finish building and once it's in use.
I'm going to talk about my electrical plan for my tiny home that we did this year. As you can see, on the walls there's a lot of wires connecting the wall lights and the chandelier. And of course, I also added some extra power to the bathroom and laundry room and kitchen, so that way I could supply the appliances with power. In ACE this year, I also learned that as an engineer, I'm going to need to be working very, very closely with all of my other people. And that was just more so reinforcing the point from the last 2 years. But I also learned just what goes into architecture and contracting and stuff like that, so I can better understand how to work with those people when I get into the career field.
My perspective of ACE professions has changed due to this program because it made me realize how many distinct fields there are within ACE. I think it's pretty obvious that there are many different kinds of engineers, from chemical engineers to computer engineers. However, I didn't realize just how many different fields need to overlap in order to construct a building. Civil and structural and electrical engineers, plumbers, landscapers, architects, interior designers, contractors, and many more all need to work together in order to complete a project. Because of all this collaboration, I think it's important that architects, contractors, and engineers have the ability to keep an open mind and be willing to work with others. It's difficult enough to become proficient in a single field of ACE, and it's simply impossible to become proficient in all of them. You're going to need the help of others. I know many students that dislike group work, often citing bad group mates as their primary reason. However, in many professions, especially ACE, Collaboration is not optional, regardless of whether you like those you work with. Being able to work well with others is a skill not everyone has, but it is an important one for architects, engineers, and contractors to learn.
I would like to take this time to thank you for teaching me everything you have about architecture, construction, and engineering. First floor. On the first floor, you have the entrance. To the right of the entrance, you have the bedroom, which also contains a combo washer and dryer. In the middle of the first floor, you have the living room, and to the left of the living room, you have the kitchen/dining room. There are stairs to the left of the kitchen leading up to the second floor. On the second floor is an open area, 2-bedroom loft. One side has a queen-size bed and the other side has a twin-size bunk bed that has a trundle. I really have a problem with storage for clothes, like a closet. I can't seem to find an appropriate place to put it. I think in order to be an architect when I grow up, I need to be really creative and I need to look at all my possibilities. Having this will help me because I need to have a backup plan in case something goes wrong. I need to be able to adapt when other architects tell me that this may not work due to a certain circumstance.
As for sustainability, this was one of my favorite parts of the project. Because my tiny home is so focused on wood, I found that sustainable wood, by like reusing it for your furniture, would be really good. And also I really like green roofs because first of all, they're really pretty. And second of all, they allow for less heat islands because the plants absorb the heat. I think the digital finish board activity was probably my favorite out of all of them. I took lots of inspiration with like plants, you could say. And this is the interior. I didn't end up using this kitchen casework because green is a pretty odd color in this, so I just stuck with like white cabinets. And then as you can see, the green roof, and I liked a black window frame and door finish because it makes it a lot more modern and sleek. And then this is the structural and electrical plan. This one, I weirdly enjoyed it. Like I didn't expect myself to enjoy it, but I loved it. And then this is a cost estimate activity. And this is when I learned how expensive it is. So if I would do this again, I'd also try to make it a lot less expensive. And I learned that this is actually one of my very big passions. And I'm very thankful to meet such talented and respected people in your guys' field. And it was really fun. Even though it was online, it was lots of fun. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Jaded Roberts, and I'm going to talk about 3D View. One of the activities that we did in ACES, a 3D drawing is a drawing with depth so that it looks like it pops out, or to create a realistic object. We did it in a 1-point perspective view. I chose to do it in the tiny house, so I'm going to show you what it looks like. So basically, my perspective drawing contains the upstairs of my tiny house. It has some beds, stairs that lead downstairs, a window with an outdoor view of some trees, a TV on the side, a light switch, and a Hershey-shaped light on the ceiling, and a transparent guardrail next to the 2 beds on the side. The shading is to make it look like that it's a realistic view of the room. And now let's move on to being an architect as a role model. As an architect, I need to be able to be creative but logical about my house design such that the design is functional and approved. I believe as an engineer, having the ability to sketch and draw will help me plan out structural designs better. Drawing is an essential skill in being an architect and an engineer too, because when planning out designs, you need to have proof of your design so that other people in your group can fully understand your idea and the concept. And that's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and see you later.
Hi, my name is Catherine, and one of my favorite activities this year in ACE was the tiny home research activity. I really enjoyed looking at different exteriors and interiors of existing tiny homes, and I did spend a lot of time researching different appliances to go in my tiny home. So the favorite appliance that I found was this washer-dryer combination unit I thought it was really neat because I didn't know that like a washer and dryer could be in like one unit until I looked up the different tiny home appliances. My second favorite activity was the digital finish board activity. It really helped me like pinpoint the different like the style of the interior I wanted for my tiny home. So as you can see, the style I really liked was the wood on the floors and the ceiling and the wooden countertops. I just really like the look of it. So if I were to actually like build a tiny home in person, these would be my inspiration images. And my third favorite activity was the 3D model. So I had the most fun designing the bathroom of my 3D home, so I'll give you a little tour of it. This right here would be the mirror, and this would be the vanity, and the toilet would go here, and this open space here would be the shower with the sliding glass door, and this would be the closet, which would have a collapsible door. And then I put these little shelves here, which are intended for shoe storage, and this little rod here is to hang your clothes, and this little box represents where the washer dryer combination unit would go. And I have this little board here which I came up with, so I thought it would be cool to have a little board that like folds down, with like fold laundry on it, iron clothes on it. It could really be used for anything that the homeowner wanted. And it also acts as like decor, I guess. And skills that I think are needed to have in the ACE field are collaboration and communication skills, so you can work well in a team, and the ability to problem solve.
This is my 3D view. So my main objective was just to capture as much detail as I could of the tiny home's interior and exterior. And this shows some of the finishes in addition to what was already on the floor plan. So the inside of the tiny home has wood cladding on most of the walls, and there's a different finish on the back wall, as you can see. And you can see the refrigerator, breakfast nook, and the roof there's a flat portion in the middle and the two angled sides. I mostly went with that for style and also to preserve space on the interior, because with a normal roof where it angles in only two directions, it would cut into a lot of that standing space on the second floor. And near the front of the tiny home, you see this cut-in, and I did that because you can only make a rectangular box so interesting, and the second floor didn't extend all the way there, so I had some space to play with, and I just wanted to make it more interesting.
But I just want to talk about how ACE literally changed everything for me, because I love animals a lot, and like I spent a lot of time outdoors, and I was convinced that I was going to become like this veterinary doctor, treating animals all day and doing that. And by chance, my counselor sent me this email like, oh, there's this thing called ACE, why don't you go and join this? And I was like, okay, sure. Like, I'm not really doing anything now because of the pandemic. And I'm like, yes, let's do this. And then I was like, oh my goodness, this might actually be something I'm really interested in, because I never thought of it this way. And like, the more I think about it, I've always wanted like to find ways to like preserve our natural habitats and like use better materials for construction, because I've read so many articles about how unsustainable some things are and what buildings cost the environment. I was like, maybe if I get into that field, I can make a real difference by like figuring something new and sustainable and help the environment. So now I chose architecture as my major. I'm a senior at Green Hope, and I'm going to Virginia Tech next year. So I plan on majoring in architecture because of ACE.
Hi, this is Reed Miller. I started with ACE back about 14 years ago. And the reason I've did ACE is I had a lot of mentors in my life and still do. This is a picture of me when I got my pilot's license in high school. I had a bunch of United Airlines pilots that mentored me through the process. We built this little airplane down here, rebuilt it. That's an Aranca Champ. And I was able to get my pilot's license through their help. It was awesome. When I got out of college, this is the first barn I built. And it was a really scary thing. My father had just passed away and I was on my own. and I had to design this thing and build it, and I just stopped by there this weekend, and it's been standing for over 45 years. So I'm pretty proud of it. You'll wind up having mentors the whole way through your life. I have a mentor right now. This gentleman here is a 3-star Marine Corps general. He mentors me every week on not saying how old I am. He's 96 years old. I was just with him this weekend, and he was teaching skiing. He's he's a mountain of a man and one guy I look up to. So you'll find mentors the whole way through your life as you're mentoring people, and not. So thanks for being with ACE, and that's why I mentor.
As soon as I found out about what ACE was, I knew it was something I wanted to get involved with. Partially because when I was growing up, I did not have exposure to anything like this. And I think to myself how valuable it would have been to understand all the components of what an architect does prior to going to school. Not only that, all the options that I truly had. So knowing that I wanted to do architecture, but what all did that really mean, and what did that mean to my community? Originally, I had no clue. So just to have that knowledge and just to be able to share that with younger people, that means an immense deal to me. And knowing that you guys can now take that information and use it in your own communities or use it to decide how you want to move forward in life, that's a huge, huge thing.
I think in this forum we come across in a more casual, approachable way than if we were to have been at a career fair or in like a forum setting, a panel setting where we might not necessarily seem like people that they could just go up and talk to. So I really loved that about this program as well.
Our mentorship program is also a great tool to show diversity that is developing in our field. Hopefully it also sets an example of how we can plant seeds in mind saying, hey, there's someone that looks like me or has a similar background doing all of these cool and important jobs. Maybe I can do that too. And I think I also benefit from being part of the ACE program. I get to see people learning and knowing that I can have a role in someone developing that knowledge. It's just a great feeling.
I participated in ACE for the 4 years that I was in high school, and I thought when I was in high school and I got into the organization, I participated in it, I want to give back to that organization that gave back to me so much. And I think it's a great organization that allows students to pursue these different careers in a way that it challenges them within a project and then allows them to get ready for college.
Hi, my name is Giulio Giannini, and I used to be a student of the ACE Mentorship Program. I think what's special about the ACE Mentorship Program is that you get exposed to a project from beginning to end, but you don't only see one perspective. Every time you come in for a meeting, you get to have professionals come in that take time out of their day to come teach you what their job is all about. I got to learn all kinds of like industry standard software, to hand sketching, to just ideation in general. These are just resources that I didn't have in high school. Fast forward after those 2 years, and ACE Mentorship ended up giving me the confidence to apply to architecture school. And I ended up getting into NC State Architecture School, and I went through all 5 years. And now I work at a firm that I really love. I work at Hobgood Architects, and I'm still in contact with my mentor from when I was in the ACE Mentorship. An invaluable experience that I don't think I would be where I am today without the mentorship.
Hi everyone, my name is Emmy Gutnick and I'm currently in my 4th year of architecture school at Syracuse University. I participated in ACE for all 4 years of my high school and graduated in the spring of 2017. My ACE experience meant so much to me, especially looking back on it in the context of where I am today. I initially joined ACE with an interest in engineering because I enjoyed math and was always trying to figure out how to put things together. However, throughout my 4 years, the exposure to the architecture field led me to lean more towards the design and artistic side. Through ACE, I was able to complete an internship during my senior year of high school at Turner Construction Company. I think the most important thing I learned during my time was that architecture, construction, and engineering could not be more linked to one another, and being able to have knowledge of all 3 subjects will allow you to thrive within the industry. My one piece of advice to all of the current ACE students is to try something new and take advantage of school as an opportunity to experiment and think outside of the box. as there is no better time than now when we can push the limits. For my ACE mentors, thank you so much for the support, knowledge, and advice that allowed me to get through high school in a productive and meaningful way, and eventually led me to what I truly want to do in life.
Hi, my name is Jay Smyrnin. I was a part of the ACE RDU program for 4 years from my freshman year in high school in 2015 to my senior year in 2019. Through the ACE program, I was able to learn the professional side of architecture and how architects collaborate with engineers in the construction industry. I'm currently a second-year architecture student at NC State University in Raleigh. The things I learned in ACE have benefited me throughout my schooling and given me extra knowledge of the professional side of architecture that we have not been introduced to yet in our education. With this knowledge, I was able to secure an internship for this coming summer at CRB in their architecture department. My advice for current students would be to absorb all the information you're being exposed to because it will benefit you greatly in the future, and get invested in your projects in order to feel the sense of understanding and accomplishment once the project is finished. Lastly, I would like to thank all of the mentors for donating their valuable time and let you know that you are giving students unique and valuable experiences, and you are all making an impact on past and present students' lives.
Hello, my name is Royce Watson. I was a student of the ACE Mentor Program at the Raleigh-Durham location. I first learned about ACE during a high school field trip to a construction site for elementary school. There were 2 project managers who were also mentors for the program, and as they were explaining about the different projects and opportunities that students had, I knew I had to join that program. So I was part of ACE for 3 years, from my sophomore to senior year, and I loved every second of it, from the students, the projects, and especially the mentors and the networking opportunities that I had. And it's from being an ACE student and from the networking opportunities that I was actually able to secure an internship with LS3P, an architecture firm, the summer before my senior year of high school. And from the internship and from the skills that I learned from ACE, I was able to implement those skills during my final year of ACE, and I now see that I'm able to implement them during my college years. So currently, I'm a first-year architectural engineering student at the illustrious North Carolina A&T State University in Greensboro, North Carolina. And I've seen that the skills that I've gained from ACE and my prior internship have helped me in my coursework, as well as has even led me to secure another internship next summer in DC with Clark Construction Group. And they have employees that are mentors in different locations around the US, so I was able to make that connection and gain that internship from them. And I now know that my main hope is that there are more minorities who are spearheading the different fields in architecture, design, construction, engineering. I feel that if we're able to have a more diverse group of leaders in design, we'll be able to create more equitable communities and opportunities.